I'm Veronica Fitzpatrick. I'm a postdoctoral fellow in Cogut via Modern Culture and Media. My work on film and television broadly concerns genre, form, and the dimly perceptible. I wrote my dissertation on post-1960 horror cinema, and I'll be teaching a course in the spring titled What We Talk About When We Talk About Horror. But this semester, I'm teaching a seminar on romance and masochism that ties directly into my book project, the working title of which is A Bachelor's Discourse. A Bachelor's Discourse reconstructs the alphabetic fragmentary form of Roland Barthes' 1977 A Lover's Discourse. The contents consist of vignettes rather than conventional monograph chapters, and this formal strategy is critical to the book's argument, which proposes that reality dating and relationship series typified by the global franchise The Bachelor supply contemporary figures of speech that surround and shape our thinking about romantic love. In his foreword to the 2010 edition, Wayne Kustenbaum characterizes Barthes' catalog as unified in, quote, the fight against received wisdom, obviousness, stereotype. My project applies the form of a work embattled against stereotype to an object that's popularly misconstrued as consisting solely of stereotype. Following Barthes, my objective with this accumulative, decentered, aphoristic form is to drift beyond the obvious toward an undiscovered but recognizable discursive site. So what is The Bachelor, or why The Bachelor? I gave a very preliminary talk on this research a few years ago in Cambridge, and I had this dark suspicion that others had selected my panel, having interpreted my title as referring to some kind of conceptual figure like the flaneur, when in fact the term is literal and industrial with regard to reality TV, albeit also theoretical. For the uninitiated, The Bachelor is a reality series wherein contestants compete for the love of a single lead according to a narrative arc that begins with an endless cocktail party and ends in engagement. Thoroughly ironic despite its earnestness, it's an elimination-based competition that rewards contestants for building community. 9 weeks of televised polyamory aim at affirming the couple form and what Alain Badiou calls the family universe. In its distension and condensation of the relationship as TV season, The Bachelor alters natural time, proffering a kind of hyperactively straight time, wherein the season moves fast while the episodes move slow, a paradox not unlike that of the narrative suspension and perpetual cliffhanger of the soap opera. Yet what I argue is that the fundamental logic of The Bachelor is less temporal and more linguistic. The show speaks itself with a lexicon drawn from cast confessionals fortified through social media. For example, declarations of love reinforce a conventional timeline of emotional attachment, from falling in love to being in love to not being able to see yourself without the other person. It's critical to respect this progression and to see oneself within it. Under this project is Lauren Berlant's distinction between an attachment whose breakage results in mere disappointment and one whose relation to optimism has apocalyptic results for the optimist. They write, when your pen breaks, you don't think this is the end of writing. But if a relation in which you invested fantasies of your own coherence and potential breaks down, the world itself feels endangered. One of The Bachelor's most consistent and, for me, compelling tropes projects the speaker forward in time via a kind of conditional vision. I can see a future with him. I can see myself with her. Or my personal favorite, the lead's early conviction that my wife or my husband is in this room. It's a very populated room, an idiom of impossible certainty, unaccompanied by any indication of precisely where. The room to which this sentiment refers is unknowingly diffuse, well beyond the production structures of inhabitants. It's what producers call the bubble, an achronological presentness of physical and intellectual captivity, an emotional petri dish in which love can grow like mold. I'm thrilled to undertake the research for this project with the support of the Cogut Institute, the community of my fellow fellows, and the productive willingness of my Thursday evening class. Thanks for listening.